Welcome to London Campaign Against Arms Trade's virtual tour of UK weapons manufacturers. Today we'll be focusing on arms companies in the UK who have links to US police brutality during the Black Lives Matter protests last year, after the murder of George Floyd. We're going to tell the story of what's really going on behind closed doors, that is, the connections of many UK-based companies to the global arms trade and police brutality. Some organisation names may be familiar to you, some you may never have heard of. All of them contribute to and profit from war, conflict and human suffering all over the world.
PW Defence is based in Derbyshire. On their website they advertise a range of security equipment, including CS gas grenades and baton rounds, often known as tear gas grenades or less lethal bullets. PW Defence was previously called Chemring Defence UK. Chemring has acquired licences to export to, amongst others, Saudi Arabia, Libya, Bahrain and the United Arab Emirates. Chemring obtained licences in 2015 and likely again in 2018 for the export to the USA of equipment including tear gas and smoke canisters. It is therefore likely that PW Defence supplied crowd control equipment to the USA. From the brutal suppression of uprisings in Bahrain in 2011 to the police violence seen in the US during Black Lives Matter demonstrations, crowd control equipment has been repeatedly used by governments to attack and injure civilians. If PW Defence has made use of any of the licences it has to export equipment to governments with such appalling human rights records, it is implicated in the abuses of those governments. Throughout the pandemic, we've seen both scientists and key workers tirelessly coming together to protect life and ensure people are safe and supported. Meanwhile, PW Defence is busy creating weapons expressly designed to hurt people, whether it be tear gas or plastic bullets.
Lincoln-based company PrimeTake manufactures all kinds of contraptions designed to hurt people. Munitions, pyrotechnics, stun grenades and CS gas canisters, to name a few. 70% of what PrimeTake produces is exported overseas. They have applied for UK export licences to 55 countries, including countries with questionable human rights records, such as Libya, Oman and the United Arab Emirates. PrimeTake applied for ammunition export licences to the US in 2008 and 2010. This means that their munitions may have been used by the US police and military during the Black Lives Matter protests last year. On PrimeTake's own website, they boast about what they call their public order range. They state that they have the most advanced public order solutions used globally by our police and law enforcement clients. PrimeTake directly profits from selling tear gas and munitions to the police. This means that the kind of police brutality that peaceful Black Lives Matter protesters experienced is in PrimeTake's own interest.
Civil Defence Supply makes crowd control equipment. They're particularly proud of their Armadillo riot shield. The company applied for anti-riot and ballistic shields export licenses to the US in 2013, 14 and 15. However, the government stopped providing the data after 2015, so it is not clear whether these licenses have continued to be applied for, if exports took place, or, if exports did take place, the quantity and end use of the equipment. There is a clear transparency issue here. In addition to a transparency issue, there is a legal issue. UK law commits that it will deny an export license if there is a clear risk that the military technology or equipment to be exported might be used for internal repression. A joint investigation by Bellingcat, Lighthouse Reports, The Guardian and Sky News found overwhelming evidence that internal repression was widespread by American police. Given this damning evidence, one would hope that the British government would follow its own law and halt export licenses. However, when the government was challenged with this law by 166 MPs from all major UK parties, the government responded by stating it found no clear risk that there was internal repression and that it would not stop, suspend, amend or revoke existing licenses. This means that British companies such as Civil Defence Supply can continue to apply for export licenses to the US and can continue to sell their equipment, which is used for internal repression.
One of the more shocking incidences of police brutality during the protests last year was when police violently cleared protesters so Donald Trump can have a photo opportunity holding a Bible outside a church near the White House. Using Scorpion solo shields, police attacked protesters, hitting them in the mouth and knocking them to the ground with the shields. There were also clear incidences of them being used against the press, including the notorious clip of an Australian cameraman being attacked with one. These shields are made by the Ludlow-based company DMS Plastics. The use of these shields was not confined to Washington. In other footage, a Utah police officer can be seen holding a scorpion shield as it looks like he fires a smoke grenade at a protester from close range. DMS's equipment was used in some of the violence meted out to protesters by the police, and they really should think if their line of business is a moral and ethical one. This was just a small insight into some of the companies that have likely to supply weapons used on protesters in the US. They are complicit in the horrifying violence the police have meted out to peaceful protesters. You can use CAAT's Arms Company database to find out if any of the companies are near you and contact them to express your concern about the use of their weapons on protesters, or maybe even pay them a socially distanced visit. You can also email your MP to ask them to support the cancellation of arms export licences to the US, as well as signing this petition. Please also follow and support organisations campaigning on the wider issues of structural racism and police violence towards the black community, such as Black Lives Matter UK and the United Families and Friends campaign.